Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick little comparison here between the Moto G5 and the Galaxy A5 2017 because some people were wondering if it's worth it to pay a bit more for the A5 2017 or would the Moto G5 suffice? And it's a tough question really, so we want to answer it in this video. We're going to look at the camera, we're going to look at the performance, the features, etc. What you do get with both handsets. And first things first, they both feel very similar actually in the hand. They're both coming at 5 inches. The A5 does have some nice things over the G5, such as waterproofing and dustproofing. It has the new Type-C connector as well, which gives you future-proofing obviously. It also has a very beautiful AMOLED display here, which is very punchy, has excellent viewing angles, as you can see, from pretty much every angle, and gets very bright as well. It's coming with a glass kind of construction, a little bit slippery on the back, but it does feel probably a little bit more premium than the Moto G5, which feels good in itself nevertheless, considering the price here. So the main advantages with the G5 is that you're getting a much more stock build of Android here, so it does feel faster day to day in terms of the operation. This is only a 2 gig RAM model, but it is very fast and nippy. You're getting a fingerprint scanner which is arguably better as well compared to the Samsung fingerprint scanners, which are very temperamental. You're also getting a lot of useful Moto actions, which you can do the karate chop for the flashlight. I think you can get into the camera as well somehow, which is very useful. You're also getting Android Nuggets as well out of the box, compared to Samsung, which rarely ever updates the A series very fast. So both handsets definitely have some pros and cons here. And in terms of the actual, day-to-day speed, I have been looking at how they do compare here, and I've got to say there isn't that much difference. If I just close everything down here and show you, you can see for yourself. We have installed a few things here, and generally I think the Moto is actually a little bit snappier, maybe because it is on the the Nugget software. There is a slight delay on the A5 when opening up stuff, which is a little bit annoying considering the high price and arguably better processor. So if you're looking at it from a performance standpoint, I think the Moto certainly does keep up. Where you might find a little bit of better is on the A5 in terms of your gaming, which has obviously a Mali GPU here, and the Mali GPU usually is a lot better, but the main thing I'd say is better is the display when you are gaming. It is much more colourful and contrasty, whereas on the Moto it's a little bit dull, to be honest. I definitely think they could do something a bit better. Speakers are about the same. I think Moto has their speaker on the front, so it does sound quite good actually. The actual performance is quite comparable as well, but I think if you really bump up the settings, you'll find on most games the A5 will be better. Not this game though, for some reason we still have some issues with the optimization in terms of the Mali GPU. As you can see, the Snapdragon 430 doing better here. But just some things to consider there really when it comes to the gaming. I think the A5 is slightly better overall. In terms of the cameras, that is another interesting question because these cameras do look quite similar on face value, and at first I was thinking the actual performance would be about the same. But I was actually mistaken because generally I'd say that the Moto G5 did a better job in terms of pretty much every environment. Like the selfie cam here, you can see very nice and highly detailed, whereas the A5 really struggled when it came to the selfies, when it came to just most things really. I'd say that the outdoor shots are about comparable. There's not too much difference there, but when you go to the low light, definitely notice Moto's done some excellent stuff to improve their performance, to keep things a bit brighter and less smudgy. So, that is something to consider. The video is about comparable, not a huge difference there really. So, both do full HD video recording. We are starting to see 4K now on some phones, which are about €200. So, I would like to see this on the next A series phone, because it's definitely long overdue. I think the software is probably a little bit more exciting on the A5. You do get quite a lot of different modes. Compared to the Moto, which is a little bit dull in comparison, but it does give you a professional mode as well. So I'd say the camera experience is a little bit stronger on the Moto G5 here, which I didn't think I'd be saying, to be honest. But I haven't actually tested the A5 yet anyway, so it's my first experience with the camera. So other things to consider is the battery life. I think the battery life is probably going to be a little bit stronger on the A5. It does have that AMOLED display. It does have a slightly bigger capacity, I think about 3000 mAh compared to about 2000. But the Moto G5 has always been pretty good in terms of longevity of the battery. I think they both have fixed-in batteries, so you're going to have to probably carry around a power pack if you want to have longer battery life. I think you do have the ability to snap this off though at the back, and it does reveal the whole device. So it can be a little bit temperamental here to get off, so I'm not going to do it now, but you've seen me do it already. So it's definitely some pros and cons here on the Moto G5 and the A5. Is it worth spending a little bit more for the A5? I'd say no. Overall, I think there's not really much point in the A series at the moment. You could get like last year's flagship. You could get the Galaxy S6. You could get the Galaxy S7 for roughly the same kind of price as the A5, and they're both rocking much more powerful cameras and processors. And if you're looking for a budget phone, the G5 will do the job. I'd say just make sure you get the 3GB RAM model, or go for the Moto G5 Plus. I hear that's very cheap abroad. You can get them for very cheap, in fact, and it's getting some really good reviews. So yeah, hopefully Samsung steps up its game when it comes to the A series, and yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.